Wildfires occur each dry season across northern Australia. Conditions during the late dry season generally result in bigger and hotter fires compared to the early dry season. Inconsistent wind conditions late in the dry season often make these fires harder and more dangerous to fight. Controlled burning early in the dry season aims to reduce fuel loads, fire intensity, fire extent, and the risk to life and assets from late dry season fires. This video shows at a small scale how to conduct a controlled burn using firebreaks. The fire was lit in the late dry season to demonstrate variable winds and how this affects fire behaviour. Breaks in flammable vegetation such as fence lines, roads, damp waterways and bare stony areas can stop fires under mild early dry season conditions. Early burning along these breaks helps to fight late dry season fires safely. Start the fire at a location where the wind is in your face, so it has to burn into the wind. You can check this by kicking the dirt and seeing where the dust goes. So you're burning off this break now,
Yeah, we're just using this natural break as a natural fire break, and we're just letting it back burn slowly across to the other fire breaks that we have in place.
Right screen,
Yep, across to the right of the screen there's a creek, and then behind us there's a road, so we're just going to let it burn nice and quietly across to those natural barriers, and it will go out. And if you don't have natural breaks on all sides, you can put a graded break in, or you can graze a strip or plough an area and just use those areas to burn from. You always have to make sure that you tie a fire into something, so you just don't burn and let it go unless you know where it's going to go, and then it's not going to cause harm. So it's important to tie it into something. So we've tied it into a creek, a break, this natural drain line and a road. So we know that it's not going to go anywhere. Now you can see with this fire, if for some reason we wanted to get in there and put this edge out because it was starting to creep across to the paddock on our left, we could just easily quite walk in there with a backpack or a wet rag, or if we've got a slip-on unit we can just go in there and put it out very easily because it's nice, creeping along real slow, low intensity, just how we like it. Typically when the first burns of the dry season come, we probably won't even start till maybe 5 or 6 o'clock in the afternoon, and that'll be just to judge how that fire's going to go. So we might light it and it might only go a metre or two and then it'll go out. So then we know, well, instead of starting it at 6 o'clock, we need to go back and start it at 5 o'clock or 4 o'clock. And then we just judge our burning by how well it goes and how long it burns for. It's very difficult to control fires later in the season. We have 100% curing rates of vegetation, we have high winds, we have very low humidity and high temperatures, so it's very difficult to control them later in the season. Definitely don't like to see fires like that, and we certainly don't like to fight fires like that because they're extremely dangerous. We'd much rather be in control than fighting something that is totally out of control and we have to try and contain and manage. And the cost to the community when fires are that big, and then we have to utilise more equipment and aeroplanes and helicopters if we have them available to us, then the cost just blows out. So this little fire that you've got in front of your camera there, it's a really good example of a backing fire. So it's just creeping along backwards, back burning back into that natural break down there in the creek line. And that's what we want, just nice, slow, steady burning. We don't want a huge wall of flames coming at us, a big fire front, we just want a nice steady backing fire.
Low intensity fires don't put as much stress on trees and wildlife, and green pick comes back a lot quicker.
You can see now we've just had a little bit of a wind change, and you can see that the flame height has changed as a result of that. So instead of that nice slow backing fire we've got much more intense fire. It's got a bigger front on it, and it's moving a lot faster than that nice backing fire was. Yeah, so what Conan's going to do, he's just going to put a little back burn along the creek line because the wind changed direction a little bit, and send that fire back into itself. What you can see here is some what we call little spot overs starting to try and get across that creek, and that's because we've had the wind change coming in here, and rather than being the backing fire like it was, it's a bit of a heading fire. So we just have to keep an eye on the other side of the creek to make sure that nothing spots over there and starts up on the other side.
Patrol all fire breaks, including where the fire has started, to make sure it hasn't jumped.
You can feel the heat off this fire even though it's very low intensity. So that's the reason why we have to wear the appropriate clothing to fight these fires. And that's why we don't like to fight huge fires, because they're just so dangerous and hot. And it's very easily for people to become trapped or hurt. Even though this fire is contained by all of these breaks, we'll still stay here and patrol this area and mop up this area until we know it's completely safe.
Fire breaks are patrolled for the rest of the day and into the following day until the fire is completely out along the edges.